Pay attention, because what happened in Watts, California, last Thursday and Friday was more than just another concert. It was a powerful reminder of hip-hop's roots in community rather than fame. Imagine over 8,000 people gathering at Nickerson Gardens, not for an overpriced stadium event where tickets cost a fortune, but for something genuine and meaningful. Dawg Entertainment, the influential label that has supported West Coast hip-hop for years, hosted their 12th annual holiday charity concert and community celebration. When it was all over, they had collected $2 million worth of toys, clothing, and resources for the local community. $2 million. Let that resonate for a moment. This wasn't a mere publicity stunt or a tax break disguised as charity. It was family taking care of family, with legends returning to their roots to ensure the next generation feels remembered. Welcome to Celebrity Rap Life, where the red carpets never roll up and the spotlight never fades. The rewards are legendary. Because in celebrity rap life, every downfall can become a comeback, and every headline tells a deeper story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. You might be asking how this differs from typical celebrity charity events where stars show up, snap a few photos, and leave before any real work begins. The distinction lies in the essence of the event. Dawg Entertainment, founded by Anthony "Top Dog" Tiffith, didn't create their success by forgetting their origins. These aren't outsiders trying to gain favor with the community for the cameras. These are individuals who grew up in the same neighborhoods and understand the struggle of trying to provide for a family during the holidays. Brandon "Big B" Tiffith, who leads Dawg Love the Kids and serves as TDE's chief marketing officer, emphasized that this initiative began as a deeply personal mission, with kids from Nickerson Gardens giving back to the community that nurtured them. That's what makes it special. This wasn't about enhancing a brand or seeking positive media coverage. It was about supporting the community that has always been there for you, celebrating your achievements as if they were their own. But here's where the story gets even crazier. What started as a small neighborhood gesture 12 years ago has exploded into something nobody could have predicted. Brandon talked about how they were just trying to show up for their neighborhood back then. Probably didn't even imagine it would last more than a year or two. Fast forward to now and it's become a full-blown movement, powered by some of the biggest artists in the game, corporate partners who actually want to do right, and a community that shows up year after year because they know this event is the real deal. Through Dawg Love the Kids, the organization that runs this whole operation, TDE has figured out how to turn success into service, and not in some distant, impersonal way. They're doing it at a scale that still feels intimate, still feels like it matters. Brandon mentioned watching families return year after year, and you can feel the weight of that statement. These aren't random people showing up for free stuff. These are families who've made this event part of their holiday tradition, who bring their kids back every December because they want them to see what community looks like, what it means when people who made it big don't forget where they came from. Now let's talk about the lineup, because when TDE says they're bringing out the heavy hitters, they mean it. This wasn't some showcase of up-and-coming artists nobody's heard of. This was a full roster of certified legends and current hitmakers. SZA, the queen of alternative R&B who's been dominating charts and breaking hearts with every album, showed up to perform. J-Rock, the Watts native who's been repping his neighborhood through every bar he's ever spit, was there. Isaiah Rashad, whose introspective style has connected with millions of fans who see themselves in his struggles and triumphs, took the stage. Sir, whose smooth vocals have made him one of R&B's most respected voices, came through. Absol, the lyrical genius who's been pushing boundaries since day one, performed for his people. But wait, it gets better. The thousands of fans packed into Nickerson Gardens got treated to something most concerts could never deliver. Guest appearances that made the whole event feel like a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Because when Dr. Dre steps on stage, you know something special is happening. The man who helped build West Coast hip-hop from the ground up, who turned Compton into a global brand, who's discovered and developed more legends than most people can name, showed up for this community event. Snoop Dogg, another architect of California's sound, another name that means something worldwide, pulled up to show love. And then there's Kendrick Lamar, arguably the most important rapper of this generation, a Pulitzer Prize winner, someone who could sell out stadiums anywhere on earth, standing on that stage in Watts because this is what matters. Mario and Monica, R&B royalty in their own right, also made appearances that had people losing their minds. Ray Vaughn, Zachary, and Cal Banks rounded out the performer list, representing the next wave of talent that TDE is cultivating. Think about that lineup for a second. Think about how much it would cost to book even half those names for a private event. Now realize they all showed up for free, for their community. Because some things matter more than a paycheck. But here's what separates this event from every other concert you've ever heard about. It wasn't just about the music. TDE didn't just throw a show and call it charity. They built an entire experience designed to touch every part of the community. There was toy distribution happening, making sure kids who might not get much for Christmas walked away with something that would light up their faces on the 25th. Raffles were running, giving people chances to win prizes they'd never be able to afford otherwise. Youth sports activities were set up because TDE understands that keeping kids active and engaged is just as important as putting gifts in their hands. There were barbering services available, and if you've ever been a young person trying to look fresh for the holidays but couldn't afford a decent cut, you know how much that matters. Holiday photo installations were everywhere, giving families the chance to capture memories they'll look back on for decades. These weren't just activities thrown together to fill time. They were carefully thought-out touches that showed TDE was thinking about what their community actually needs, not what looks good in a press release. And then there's the job fair. Yeah, you read that right. In the middle of all the performances and celebrations and gift-giving, TDE partnered with the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles Watts Worksource Center to set up an on-site job fair. Think about the vision behind that decision. Most charity events give you something for free and send you on your way. TDE looked at their community and said, "We want to give you opportunities, not just handouts." They created a space where someone could come for the concert, get their kids some toys, enjoy the music, and walk away with a job interview that could change their family's entire trajectory. That's the kind of thinking that transforms communities instead of just making them feel good for a weekend. That's the difference between people who are actually from the struggle and people who are just performing charity for the optics. Anthony Musa, Tiffith Jr., TDE's president, summed it all up when he talked about how 12 years in, this concert and toy drive remains one of the most meaningful things they do. Not the album releases that go platinum. Not the sold-out tours. Not the Grammy nominations or the industry recognition. This. Coming back home and making sure kids feel seen, celebrated, and excited during a time of year that should feel special. Musa mentioned everything from shoes and clothes to toys and live performances, talking about how it's all about creating moments these kids will remember. Because here's the truth that a lot of people outside these neighborhoods don't understand. For some of these kids, this might be the best day of their entire year. This might be the moment they remember 20 years from now when they're deciding whether to give back to their own community or just cash out and forget where they came from. These experiences shape how young people see the world and their place in it. Musa also made it clear that while this event started in their specific community, the doors are open to everyone. That's important because it speaks to something bigger than just neighborhood pride. TDE is saying that what matters most isn't who you are or where you're from. It's the joy they can share and the memories they help create. In a world that's increasingly divided, where people are constantly being told they're different from each other, here's an event that brings thousands together around music, generosity, and community love. It's a masterclass in how success should be handled, how when you come from nothing and build something incredible, the move isn't to build walls around yourself, it's to build bridges back to where you started. The two-day format also shows how much thought went into this whole operation. Thursday and Friday meant more people could attend without overcrowding, meant families with different schedules could find time to come through, meant the impact could be spread out and felt more deeply. It wasn't about cramming everything into one chaotic night where half the people can't even get close to the stage. It was about creating space for everyone to experience this properly, to not just pass through but to actually be present for what was happening. And let's be real about what $2 million in toys, clothing, and community resources actually means on the ground. That's not just numbers on paper. That's thousands of kids waking up on Christmas morning with something to open. That's teenagers getting winter coats who would have gone without. That's families receiving resources that help them survive through the hardest financial time of the year. That's the kind of impact that ripples through a community long after the stages are torn down and the artists have gone back to their lives. Those kids remember. Those families remember. And when those kids grow up and find their own success, they remember what it felt like to be thought about, to matter to people who didn't have to care but chose to anyway. This is what 12 years of consistency looks like. This is what happens when you don't just talk about giving back, but actually put in the work year after year. A lot of artists and labels do charity once, get their good press, and move on. TDE has been showing up for over a decade, building something that's become bigger than any single album or artist. They've created a legacy that will outlive any song on the charts, a tradition that families plan their holidays around, a moment that reminds everyone in that community and everyone watching from outside that hip-hop at its best has always been about more than just the music. It's been about using your platform to lift others up, about remembering that your success isn't just yours. It belongs to everyone who believed in you before the world did. What happened in Watts these past 2 days is the blueprint for how the entertainment industry should operate, but mostly doesn't. It's proof that you can be wildly successful and still stay connected to the struggle. It's evidence that when people are given the right support and resources, communities can thrive instead of just survive. And most importantly, it's a reminder that the most powerful thing any of us can do with success isn't buy more for ourselves. It's make sure the people coming up behind us have a better shot than we did. Dawg Entertainment isn't just building artists, they're building hope, and that's something you can't put a price tag on. This story is far from over, and the truth is still unfolding. I want to hear what you think. Drop your take in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next.